Machines can think fast, people can feel deeply. But what happens when we combine the best of both? Dr. Katie Pritchett is here to explore the intersection of emotional intelligence, EQ, and artificial intelligence, AI, why moms may be uniquely positioned to lead the shift, bringing them both together. Welcome to the AI Empowered Mom podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Dooley, and at AI Empowered Mom, we are on a mission to reduce the mental load of parenthood using AI assistant. I'm joined by my professor and my friend, Dr. Katie Pritchett, PhD. Katie, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself to get us started?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Katie Pritchett, and I live in Austin, Texas, with my husband, Paul, and our 7-year-old, actually 7.5-year-old son, Lincoln. He would want me to make sure you knew that.
That's right. Be
You know the
precise.
half age, right?
I'd love to hear just a little bit about what day-to-day life looks like for you and your family, Katie. What?
I was just telling a dear friend yesterday that I really believe this past summer was like the best summer of my adult life. I
Wow.
really got to lean in. We traveled a lot, but I also just slowed down and had fun and really felt that child energy of joy that kids feel in summer. And I'm feeling rejuvenated for the fall to meet my clients where they are and to pick up my work. So probably like a lot of families, it's not a cookie cutter everyday thing, but we do sports and music and school. And my husband and I take time out for date nights and travel, and for him to have guys' nights and for me to have girl nights, ladies' nights. And yeah, it's probably pretty typical.
Well, you mentioned your clients and your work, and I know you through your work at the University of Texas, but many others might know you through your coaching work, your consulting work. Can you tell us a little bit about your work as a coach and a speaker and an expert in change agility?
I'm the first in my family to get a college degree, let alone a PhD. The first in my family to leave my small town in Louisiana to chase bigger dreams. And because I did a lot of first, I grew up having to navigate different worlds. So I had to go through transitions and I helped other people through transitions. So that really prepared me for where I am now. It's an expert in change agility and transformations. It's important for me to own. That's something I've been really doing lately. And so then that parlays to my professional career is well, I did earn my PhD in higher education administration because my original goal, which is no longer, but was to be a university president. But I specialized in experiential learning. Since 2015, I've been teaching at the University of Texas at Austin in the McCombs School of Business. And I'm an award-winning professor, and I'll own that too, because I'm also helping women step into their power. I own my own coaching and consulting practice, KPI coaching. But prior to my history with academia, I worked in federal government. I worked during major transitions. I worked in corporate consulting. I worked through acquisitions. I witnessed the same patterns everywhere. Change is inevitable. The only constant in organizations is change, but suffering, people were choosing to suffer. And so as a change management expert, I realized that there was a missing piece. And I really wanted to help. I created several frameworks that I used, and I wanted to be able to focus full time on developing change agility and helping people, especially leaders, curate their capacity to stay grounded, adaptive, and curious during change.
I love that term, change agility. Can you break it down and help us understand in simple terms? What does change agility look like?
I'll define it for what it's not. It's not survival mode. It's not like we could just get through this, like holding your breath, waiting for the next, like we can just jump 2 more hurdles and, texting your friends and girlfriends, like this month is busy. What about next month? And you're lying because next month is actually not any easier. Change agility is the idea that you're developing your capacity for change. You're increasing your own personal ability to increase your capacity, because being agile and being thoughtful about your response to change is a very different thing than being reactive or resistant to change. So an example is a change agile leader would see change as data, or someone who's not change agile would see it as a threat.
It resonates with me thinking back to my time in consulting and corporate, but maybe even more so as a mom. So I'm excited to
Right?
change ability as a mom because things are always changing around here. But first, I want to pick back up on two threads that are
Okay.
hanging from where you started. One is when you mentioned that your goals have changed. I love that because sometimes I think there's some shame associated with, I had a goal and now I have a different goal. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you had a goal to be a university president and that's no longer your goal? Do
Oh
you
my
feel
God.
your goal changing?
Imagine me telling my husband that after we uprooted our lives in Washington, D.C. to move for me to get my PhD and then, sold him on this dream. And also, PhDs aren't free, or at least mine wasn't. So, yes, I hear you. It's not that shame or confusion or frustration or grief is not associated with change or changing your mind. It is. What I came to realize is it's how you allow that to affect you. And so those things did bubble up. I think it's really important as a woman and a mom to share that with others. Like those feelings do come up. I saw this beautiful quote somewhere that I'm going to probably botch, but it was something about like a bird doesn't its trust is not on the branch it's sitting on. Its trust is in its wings. I think I just had to realize that even though a material goal was shifting, my passion, desire, skill set, education was applicable in other areas.
Well, I believe in your wings to fly on this too. I love normalizing goal change.
And here's the thing that I'm just having this like in moment right now is how important it is for us as parents to mirror that for our children. Because I don't know about you, but I grew up in a world where, like, my husband's grandfather, who's basically my grandfather, he worked in the same career in the same company for 44 years. And he's super proud of that. And that longevity and earning that pension was a thing that probably our parents and contemporary they did. And
Mhm.
so to be able to share and show our children that adaptability.
Well, thank you for sharing that and helping model that behavior. The other thread that I wanted to pick on a little bit was how we met. We met when I was your student, as you mentioned, at the University of Texas executive education course called AI and EQ. And can we spend a little minute just talking about how that course came to be? It's such a refreshing and meaningful topic.
Thank you. Yes. I am really grateful for the partnership that I had with UT's Texas Executive Education. So I was just coming out of the corporate consulting world and I shared with them exactly what I shared with you, that I was seeing those patterns and that I was seeing organizations invest heavily in AI capabilities, but their leaders were struggling with some of the most basic human skills during
Mhm.
change, self-awareness,
Mhm.
emotional regulation, authentic conversation. And as part of like authentic conversation and communication, like navigating tough conversations, like employees who are freaking out because they think their jobs are going to be replaced, and leaders just saying, like, no, you're dumb and walking away. And that's not a hyperbole. I
Right.
witnessed that. And so what I realize is there's a great framework called adaptive leadership. The point is there's technical problems and there's adaptive problems. So AI is solving a lot of really cool technical things for people, but it didn't strip away the need to still develop some of those emotionally intelligent skills as a leader. And it was
Mhm.
so beautiful because the other professor, Zena Dracu, she taught the AI piece and really helped people to become more conversant. And so, how do you prepare people, teams, and the workforce and yourself to do that? And so, regulating your nervous system, checking your mindset, understanding that leadership isn't rocket science, but it is neuroscience and how people are wired. And so Zena and I traded off and did a beautiful 2-day thing where we shared and I still carry so much of that into my work now. But we had a great time and that was a wonderful cohort.
How do you combine AI and EQ in your life, either professionally or in your personal life as a mom? How do you bring those two things together?
It's so crazy because I almost can't remember life before AI because it's so helpful. And you taught me. That's what I love about education is it's never one way. You taught me. You started to share ways that you were using it, creating bedtime stories for your girls. And so I went home and created bedtime stories. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I'm not afraid of this technology, I can't make Lincoln. If my son is Lincoln, he can't be afraid of technology. He's like, I want to be a video game creator. And so I wanted to show him that he could create little fun videos after Xena taught us about that. And so it goes into logistics for meal planning. It goes into creative activities. It helped us plan a really cool trip this summer. I use it at work, but the EQ comes in that like in real time as a mom, when there's a tantrum or a meltdown or a sad or something, You can't hit pause on life and go type it into a GPT and like, what should I do? You have to respond in real time. And that child is looking at you and they are trying to figure out if they can co-regulate or if they can trust you or how that's going to be. And so that's a big part of my mom's side. But a big part of my EQ at work is, yeah, I'll use AI to prepare or streamline content. But when I'm in the room or I'm facilitating a workshop or I'm speaking on a stage, it's my experiential learning and my emotional intelligence is what creates the breakthrough moments. So I love the interplay of them personally and professionally.
Well, we talk a lot on this podcast and in the AI empowered mom community about strengthening our AI muscles, but we have not talked enough about how to improve our emotional intelligence. So, can you share a couple of ideas from your work about ways that moms can strengthen their EQ side along with their AI side?
So I'm really glad you asked. I think my number one thing is that I've learned your nervous system can process change and information faster than your conscious mind. So, moms, take 30 seconds. I know we say we don't have time. Take 30 seconds to check in with your body and access the intelligence that AI will never be able to replicate. So, for example, I know if I'm feeling super stressed and like I haven't done enough work wise, but like the kids home from school and we're doing things, I now know I start to feel tension in my jaw. I've gotten so in tune with my body. And so if I'm feeling tension in my jaw, the chances that I'll snap at him or something he'll do annoy me faster. I take the 30 seconds, I do a quick body scan, I check in for that body intelligence, and I'm like, oh, there it is. Breathe in, show myself some compassion, and then, okay, I'm able to kind of move with it. Even if I can't fully address my needs in that moment, at least I'm aware of it. And I don't let that, like I said, be in the driver's seat. So I would say focusing on anything you can do to increase your capacity. And that's not like adding more to your plate. It's looks like more like taking things off. It looks like real self-care. It looks like breathing. It looks like going on walks. It looks like a morning nervous system regulation, setting your alarm 2 minutes earlier so you can intentionally breathe before the chaos. And then I try really hard to do a weekly audit. I just look at like what's working and what's not working. That could be technology or emotional intelligence.
I love those ideas. Well, let's pick back up with change agility. I want to talk about change agility specifically for moms using AI. There's a lot of AI fatigue now. I hear from moms pretty regularly that they're sick of AI, and some of them tell me that before they've even tried using AI. How can moms stay agile with all the ways that AI is changing our lives and how visible it is around us?
One of the key cornerstones that I work with my clients on is change is inevitable. So technology is going to be changing. But how might you be adding to your own suffering by expecting that you have to keep up with it? Like before you pick a tool, pick a why. Where could I use some help? And let that inform, but you don't have to keep up with the Joneses in all aspects. I think sometimes just that grace is really helpful.
I agree with your statement about picking a why. And I really believe in first identifying areas of life that are draining you and then seeing what you can find from an AI or automation toolset perspective that can take some of those tasks off of your plate. So I
Yeah.
don't want moms to give up the things that they love. Instead, I want them to take some of those things that are weighing them down and see if AI can help with those. To me, that's how to stay agile with change is
Yeah. And
find the right way, just as you said.
and honestly, Sarah, that's the same in organizations. Like organizations sometimes want the shiny new technology tool, but they haven't really anchored in their strategy and their why. So, yeah, I like double down on that. And I just was thinking about the story time. If reading the bedtime stories from your favorite childhood books is what you love and brings you joy, don't use AI to write bedtime stories. You know?
That's right. In the Dooley household, while we have the ability to create beautiful custom storybooks with the Gemini Storybook Gym, we're still reading Harry Potter from a paper book every night. So
Oh my God, we started Harry Potter.
it's so exciting to be at this age.
Oh,
Well, are
yes.
there any other habits or practices that you advise leaders in organizations to do to improve their change agility that we as moms can take on as the leaders in our family?
It starts with mindset, always. And I know that can sometimes feel really nebulous or even cliche. But the more I parent, every day that goes by that I'm a parent, the more I realize that where our attention goes, energy flows. Like it is such a real thing. And so it really starts with not linking your identity that you already know something. Like that insatiable curiosity that our children have. I think my son has really reminded me that that's sort of the secret ingredient to change agility.
Mhm.
And so if you do have younger children or children of school age or even college, right, who are going to learn to get a degree in something, how does just staying curious instead of being right, how can that mindset shift support you?
Staying curious sounds fun. Being right sounds exhausting. Well, Katie, let's switch gears a little bit and go into what I am affectionately calling chatbot mode. I will throw out some quick questions and you are the chatbot now. Just say whatever comes to mind. When has your EQ saved the day?
Over and over and over, which kind of reminds me of like my go-to phrase is that when you act from a place of hurt, your actions will hurt. And so I'm constantly baselining, have I put my oxygen mask on first so that I can show up as the mom that I want? I've had to break a lot of cycles, Sarah. It's not something I talk about as freely, but yeah, I had an abusive parent. And so it means a lot to me to break a cycle and to raise a child in a different way. So my EQ saves the day a lot.
How did you do that, Katie? For those of us who are working through our own cycles, any lessons learned from the road?
Hmm. Therapy is amazing. I've learned that the shadow side, the harder side, isn't about ignoring, but making friends with it and realizing you're a whole human. If you haven't started therapy, let this be your sign that finding a good therapist to help you start working through it is really critical.
Yeah, a good human therapist.
A human therapist.
Well, what about a personal theme song? Do you have a theme song of the moment right now?
I found this artist, his name's Abel Hart, and
Okay.
he writes his songs at specific frequencies. If you don't know, emotions all have frequency. Everything
Mhm.
has frequency, everything's energy. And he writes his songs at certain frequencies. And there's this amazing song that I think every mom should listen to. It's called I Believe It, and it's at 1,111 hertz, so 1111. And it just like raises your vibration. And it's like, I believe it. It's all working out for me. Go listen to it.
What? I don't know my frequencies, so I've got to check this out. What a
Yeah,
great
all his music is to specific frequencies to, like, help literally raise your vibration. Ooh, that's a great EQ tip. If you're on the struggle bus, you didn't get as much sleep, and you need to show up at work or at home, listen to some Abel Hart at a higher frequency.
I love it. Well, we are all about celebrating mom's wins in the AI empowered mom community. So, is there a win of yours that you felt proud of recently that we could celebrate?
Yeah, I had so much fun this summer.
That's wonderful. How did you do it? How did you actually be intentional and make this summer fun?
Well, you just hit the key. I was intentional. I was very clear. I took only one big project this summer,
Mhm.
and so I could build time for us to travel. And I literally did a cannonballs in the local pool, and I even slept late. That's 7:15.
What about a book or a podcast you're loving right now? What's inspiring you, whether you're reading or listening?
I am unequivocally obsessed with the Telepathy Tapes podcast.
Okay, tell me more. I don't know it.
So, for any moms who have neurodivergent children, it would be interesting, especially if they're autistic and or on the, nonverbal side of autism, it's a must listen. But it starts out that way. It starts out about understanding the beautiful gifts of non-speaking autistic children. But the core 10 episodes are, I think, like a must listen. But then it evolves. Like she's done all these talk tracks. The lady Kai Dickens who's doing it is doing a actual documentary, but it's called the telepathy tapes because, spoiler alert, what they've discovered is that nonverbal, non-speaking autistic children are telepathic.
Ah,
And she
wow.
goes through a beautiful way. She approaches it like a documentary and interviews parents and children and caregivers and scientists about it. And it's paradigm shifting, but then it evolves into some other things. It does dabble in spirituality. So if that's something you don't like or you do like, or you're questioning what is there a higher power, it's paradigm shifting.
Well, speaking of podcasts that dabble in spirituality, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast, Higher Downloads?
Yes, it started out as a fun passion project because this is going to be the summer of fun. So my dear friend Katie Shell and I are co-hosts, and Well, we would voice memo each other because we're both on this journey of inner healing in our work and showing up as better moms and entrepreneurs. And we were sending voice memos, like if we would see a synchronicity in the world. And then we had this moment laughing where we're like, what if people could listen to our voice memos? So we started a podcast called Higher Downloads that really speaks to our walk and desire to live life in alignment in higher consciousness. And we're both moms and entrepreneurs, and we get real. We talk about the highs and the lows. So it's just been more fun.
Last question for you, Katie, is what's one thing you hope moms take away from this conversation? We've touched on a lot, change agility, AI, and EQ. And what do you hope moms take away today?
My hope is that moms realize that the greatest gift you can give your children is regulating your nervous system. It is not selfish to put your oxygen mask on first. It is required. And what I've learned is that I grew up seeing parents model survival. And now I am doing my work to model what thriving looks like. And that's hard. It is so hard. It is an intentional choice every day. But when you model what that looks like to adapt, change your goals, like we talked about, regenerate through life's challenges without losing yourself, then like you're teaching kids that it doesn't have to be scary, because what do we know? Change is inevitable. So
Yeah.
that ripple, that investment that you do in you goes to your children, and it will absolutely ripple out from your family to your community. So that's what I hope that they can get from this episode.
Thank you so much for being here, Katie. And if folks would like to hear more from you, they can check out your podcast, Higher Downloads, focusing on life as a mom and an entrepreneur alongside the exploration of higher consciousness, living aligned and trusting your inner divine guidance along with your friend Katie, two Katies. Higher Downloads is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can also follow Katie at Dr. Katie Pritchett. That's Katie, Katie, and Pritchett is Pritchett on Instagram and TikTok. And if today gave you a laugh or a lift, or you have any feedback, please reach out to me at contact@AIempoweredmom.com or message me at AIempoweredmom on Instagram or TikTok. And I'll meet you all right back here next time. Thank you again, Katie.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Sarah.